Hi, this is another video from WhatAcca.com. We're looking ahead to Boxing Day. There are 9 Premier League games taking place. They're all scheduled to go ahead at the time of recording, so hopefully the team at WhatAcca can give you some accurate and profitable predictions that you can potentially put in your accumulator. Speaking of which, we're going to have lots of ACCAs lined up over the festive period, so make sure you signed up for the emails and check out what we're predicting is going to happen on a day-by-day basis. There's lots of football taking place. So we're looking ahead to the Boxing Day matches. It all kicks off in the Premier League with the clash at Anfield between Liverpool and Leeds. Liverpool are absolutely huge favourites to win this match. It's hardly a surprise considering Leeds' current plight. We'll take Liverpool -2 on the Asian handicap. Manchester City put 7 goals past Leeds recently and Arsenal won 4-1 at Ellen Road. We think that Liverpool can win by a similarly comfortable margin. They might be missing their first choice midfield for this game, depending on who's back and who's not. But the front three look to be in exceptional form at the moment. We're not expecting Leeds to trouble a Liverpool defence, which may still be missing Van Dijk. But we think Liverpool are set for a fairly routine and comfortable victory here. Wolves clashed with Watford in another Boxing Day lunchtime game. We're going to go for Wolves to win the game and both teams to score no. So Wolves to win to 0. Bruno Lage's side have just been tremendous from a defensive point of view recently. They've only conceded 2 goals in their last 7 matches. And they were 1-0 defeats against Liverpool, late Divock Origi goal and Manchester City penalty. So there's every reason to get behind Wolves here and expect them to shut out a Watford team who haven't actually had a game for a little while since losing away to Brentford. Yes, Emmanuel Dennis and Josh King provide some cut and thrust going forward for Claudio Ranieri's side, but this is the sort of game where Watford are looking over their shoulder at the moment and they certainly would be happy to get a draw out of this clash. This is a tricky tie-in. Considering that Wolves should have had the edge over Chelsea last weekend, we think Wolves, both teams to score no, is a fairly solid bet here. Burnley clash with Everton, one of the 3 p.m. kickoffs on Boxing Day. We're going to go for under 2.5 goals in this game. Hardly a surprise, really. Burnley have scored only 14 goals in their 15 encounters this season, and Everton are averaging less than a goal per away game. So, all things considered, we're expecting a low-scoring game. It could just be 1 goal that decides it. I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin could be back for the Toffees, and maybe he will prove to be the match winner. But we're not expecting fireworks at Turf Moor, and therefore we'll go for low goals. Man City clash with Leicester City. We're going to go for Pep Guardiola's side to win the game, but both teams to score. Leicester were looking really good until they sort of got stopped in their tracks with sort of COVID postponements. But James Maddison in particular was really outstanding for Leicester as they put Newcastle to the sword 4-0. The Foxes have found the net in the last 6 encounters in this game. And although they're likely to be outscored in this game, we think that the best path to profit could be backing City to win, both teams to score yes. Norwich clash with Arsenal at Carrow Road, and we are going for over 2.5 goals in this game. The reason why we're not going straight ahead for Arsenal to win the game is that they have slipped up a little bit on the road in recent weeks. I know that they won comfortably enough at Ellen Road, but previously to that, they threw away a 1-goal lead and lost against Everton, and similarly did the same thing when losing 3-2 at Manchester United. So Arsenal are not necessarily a team that can be trusted, and Norwich have certainly had plenty of prep time for this game. They're another team who've not played for a little while. They were a bit unlucky to lose against Manchester United, but they've really got to sort of start going out for wins now as well. Sort of trying to keep things tight and trying to squeeze a point here and there isn't going to be enough. We'll play over 2.5 goals though. We think Arsenal might concede the odd one at the back, but they've got plenty to like about them going forward. Gabriel Martinelli is effectively keeping Emile Smith-Rowe out of the team. Bukayo Saka looks really sharp, and Martin Odegaard is in good form as well. So we'll go over 2.5 goals in this game. Tottenham clash with Crystal Palace. Spurs look really vibrant against Liverpool. They really took advantage of the Liverpool high line in that game and carved out so many good scoring chances, scored 2 in the end. Kane and Son are looking like they're back in sort of working well in tandem once again. We're going to go for Tottenham to win this game, and we're going to go for both teams to score no. So Tottenham to win to 0. Palace, they did beat Everton 3-1 in a recent clash, but they can have problems scoring against some of the leading teams. They drew a blank at Old Trafford quite recently, and we're not sure how many chances they'll be able to create against the Tottenham side, who are starting to look a bit more settled and organised under Antonio Conte. They're looking fit as fiddles, and certainly that sort of enforced break served them well from the energy perspective against Liverpool. So Tottenham both teams to score 0 here is a decent shout. West Ham clash with Southampton. It's increasingly more difficult to get confident with West Ham, considering that they've sort of been stumbling along for the last few weeks. I know that they beat Liverpool and Chelsea in those exciting 3-2 wins, but aside from that, there's not been a huge amount to get excited about. The season's starting to tail off a little bit at this point in time, and Mikel Antonio hasn't really been finding the net with any sort of regularity since the beginning of the season. Perhaps he had some easy opposition at the beginning of the season and is finding things a little bit tougher now. Southampton have drawn 8 of their 17 matches this season, so I think the draw is a reasonable play in this game. Ralph Hasenhüttl's side are certainly capable of getting a point in the same way that Brighton did at the London Stadium recently. Armando Broja is a decent attacker who can certainly go out and nick the odd goal. So a 1-1 scoreline, something along that, wouldn't surprise us here. Aston Villa go up against Chelsea. We're really excited to see how big Villa are for this game. I think this is a great time to be getting against Chelsea and getting with Villa, because the home side, there's so many positives about the way that they're playing under Steven Gerrard. It's been an instant success really since he took charge. They've catapulted themselves into the top half of the table. Could have got a point at Anfield, certainly could have got a draw at home to Manchester City when losing by the odd goal. Aside from that, they've beaten every other team that they've played. Most recently won 2-0 at Norwich, a very convincing performance. I think they'll serve it up to Chelsea here. Chelsea were only able to name a handful of substitutes at Molineux when drawing 0-0. They didn't deserve anything more than a goalless draw from that game. Villa have got a really settled back five at the moment. In fact, they've got a very settled team really as well. And Jacob Ramsey is looking smart in midfield along with John McGinn. Ollie Watkins is looking really sharp up top. And yeah, I think Villa plus a half a goal on the Asian handicap could be as good a way to play this as not. But we'd be happy to have a little wager on Villa at huge odds. Brighton clash with Brentford, and we're going to go for a draw in this game. The reason for that is that Brighton have just become the Premier League's draw specialist all of a sudden. Not much of a surprise, because if you're a team that don't score many goals and concede many goals, then you're obviously quite likely to draw a large chunk of your games, which is exactly what's happening at the moment. Brentford have got a 50% draw rate on the road this term, so they're capable of avoiding defeat at the Amex, despite Brighton being fairly strong favourites here. In fact, Brentford have only lost 2 of their 8 away games this season. Thomas Frank's side seem to be equally as capable away from the Brentford Community Stadium, so the draw offers the best value for this clash. Those are the Boxing Day games, and then there's one match on the 27th of December, takes place between Newcastle United and Manchester United. We are not particularly convinced by Manchester United, despite Ralph Rangnick taking over and probably organising the team a bit better than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did. We're going to go for Newcastle and plus half a goal on the Asian handicap. I watched the Newcastle clash against Manchester City, and I know that Newcastle made some horrendous mistakes at the back, and they're pretty porous from that perspective. But they do offer plenty going forward. Joe Linton seems to be a reformed character under Howe, and I don't know whether the manager will play St Maximin and Wilson in front of Joe Linton in this game, but we think they can cause United a few problems. We thought Norwich probably deserved a draw when they played United recently, and I think Newcastle have got something about them now. I think they're starting to sort of show a bit more attacking sort of vibrancy, and they could have scored against Manchester City in that game. So we'll chance Newcastle plus half a goal, just mainly because we think they're slightly improving, and we're still not convinced by United. These are the 10 games on the 26th and the 27th of December. We'll have another video looking ahead to the next round of games. Hopefully we'll get all these games will go ahead. Maybe one or two will fall foul of COVID rates through going through the various training camps or what have you as well. So we'll just have to play that by ear. Same applies to our accumulators, although we've got one. We're going to have a couple of accumulators lined up for Boxing Day, and then there'll be plenty more coming through. So make sure you check out the site, and if you get signed up for those emails, then you'll be the first to receive our daily tips. All the best for now, guys. Cheers.